Finding. So what exactly do we want? Like, we want to lead by the velocity, just give us a little bit of a look ahead, but how exactly do we want to accomplish it? Like, we've already smoothed out the velocity over a certain number of frames. I mean, we could just try it out, you know, just like setting the camera lead directly to the velocity with this thing, which is our, what is it here? Camera velocity ratio, magnitude. And basically all we would do is we would just set the current camera lead offset equals the wanted right here. And then maybe I can play with stuff. Let's see if this actually works at all. And if the only thing that I need is some sort of delay based on, you know, like a percent to apply this thing. Because like theoretically, if you started changing your velocity a whole bunch, like we could just put in a whole lot of I don't know. It's an interesting problem with this because if we have enough frames, supposedly that would build in enough time for this to nicely, you know, figure stuff out, and like we could over the course of those frames just, you know, add in, you know, we could have a history of, you know, 120 frames or something. That'd be like 2 seconds for the time, or we could change the history to be a time differential instead of a like keep X seconds of history versus X frames of history. Because right now it's at what, 10 frames with no frame delay? Looks like the frame delay was not very good. So if we turn this way up for our history, we say like, okay, smooth velocity frames 120. Then what happens? I don't know, I just don't like it. I just don't like the lead. Maybe the zoom is good enough. Because the zoom does pretty much the exact same thing. I think it might do a better job of it. Yeah, it's hard to even kind of see. I think the velocity based zoom actually probably does a better job here. See, if there's a velocity lead though, I mean, if we're gonna make it actually work, it's pretty clear it needs that interpolation stuff in there. It's clear the axes need to be locked together. I mean, we could be like going from one spot to the other. And being like, well, if it's too far away, then we won't do anything. But it'll still kind of float in. Let's see. What is it gonna look like? It's basically gonna be like, it's not gonna be the magnitude. Like we're interpolating both. We're going from like one spot to the other. So it's at the same time. So we're not doing like this lerp float DT stuff. We're doing like well, like the wanted lead offset Y minus the current lead offset Y. And I guess it's just going to be the speed. We're going to take the vector between them. Do we have a vector-based math thing here? Let's take a look. Should be in math utils. No, we don't. But it's basically what we want to do is we want to get the vector between them and multiply that, so it's like f vector trying to think exactly what I want this to, how I want this to act. Basically, we pick a lead offset vector and we want to move towards it, and what we want to know is if we are I mean, is the space a circle for the lead? we draw it out, so if we're running to the right at a certain speed, and then we change our vector again, how do we nicely go between it? Like, I guess there's two things we could change. We could change the angle at which our offset is, and we could also change the magnitude of the vector. Like, that's another way to interpolate these variables. So it would basically be, the vector would be how far, and then the angle would be another one. If we did those both, what would it look like? It would look like, if we ran really quick and then we went up, it would like move out based on our speed and then move up, so the camera would like pan up, and it would be smooth at least, so we could decompose it into, instead of like x and our y and our z axis moving, we could decompose it into an angle and magnitude. That would at least be smooth. It wouldn't be like this floaty thing. It would, the camera would kind of curve into stuff as opposed to float into it. It would curve, supposedly. Like if we were falling, if we were running really fast and then falling, the camera would kind of curve over. Like instead of going straight down, it would curve over. So what you would see is, like, it would be leading the person, and then it would curve down. So this is the person, this is the screen. I think that would work. So we want the angle and the magnitude. I think that would work. So why don't we go ahead and try it. So we're going to need a lead magnitude and a lead angle. So we're going to need lead shrinking and lead counterclockwise. And then what are we going to do for, like, if the lead angle is increasing or decreasing? Like, we're going to have problems with, I guess it's lead angle left sort of stuff versus lead angle right. Well, how should this thing move? Man, this is annoying. Because I'm having to try to like visualize what the math is going to do based on what I think will happen. I guess if either the difference in magnitude or angle changes, so it's like and then we'll do it. All right, so we have to. Okay. So it's going to be the camera lead speed, and basically what's going to happen is you've got our wanted camera offset, and based on that we're going to have to figure out our angle. So we're going to have like our wanted angle and our wanted magnitude. So our M, it's like float M, wanted lead magnitude, and float M, wanted lead angle. So our wanted lead angle is going to be like F, it's going to be our angle from our vector. Which is going to be our, what is this, SX, SY, EX, EY. So it's going to be 0, 0 to our lead offset Y, or lead offset Z, Y. So that's going to be our wanted lead angle, and our wanted lead magnitude is going to be this lead distance. Alright, and then our calculate camera lead speed is basically going to be if wanted lead angle I mean, we could also normalize the angle, but no. Alright, if wanted lead magnitude is less than lead magnitude, then lead shrinking equals true, like bool, lead shrinking equals false. So we're going to have if lead magnitude minus wanted lead magnitude is less than tiny float, or the absolute value of the other ones. Which would be the angle. So it's going to be turning left, turning right. We'll have lead shrinking, and then we'll have M lead turning counterclockwise. Alright, so we'll have full lead turning counterclockwise, and basically it's going to be like if so the angle is going to go from, let's see, what exactly is the angle going to go from? Tan 2, Unreal. Result is in degrees. So if it's in degrees, so if it is from, how do we know? If we know the angle and we know the previous angle, so let's see, if we have two angles, we've got like angle 1 and we've got angle 2. If the fmath, the absolute value of the angle subtracted from each other, so it's gonna be like, you've gotten no sleep, Lucas? That's not good. You should get some sleep. If the wanted lead angle is minus the lead angle, because it's going to go from 0 to 360. So what we want to do is the difference between the angles is going to be the thing, if we're going to turn left or right. Let me take a look at something. Set angle towards vector. Set turning radius. Alright, Lucas. See you later. Have a good night. Still not convinced this is going to work too well because the rotation stuff, like, I mean, it's almost like we have a vector for your velocity and we're just we want that vector to come out and go in. We don't really want it to change, like come up and do weird stuff. We kind of want to just go straight over to it. I guess maybe we should just be grabbing a position and just moving to that position, and if that position changes, then we just like stop and forget. And we go towards that position based on like a start and an end position. What an ugly problem. This like lead velocity based lead stuff is just not super great. Just trying to think of a good solution for it, and none of these seem good. Like this angle stuff looked like it's gonna be weird and curvy. And the only thing I'm thinking about is something that if you start running to the right real fast, it basically just says, okay, well, we're gonna look forward, and if like it changes angle or something, then it shouldn't like just jump up there. It should like stay there and then move up to that one, only if it doesn't change. But if it like there's like you're running up and down on a track or something like that, it shouldn't just like shift the camera up and down. You'd expect it to basically like, well, over the last so many frames you moved in a certain way, so that average relative motion is actually just to the right. So we want to smooth the velocity, and then once we smooth the velocity and that doesn't change for a certain amount of time, then we can lead. So it's really just like then we can lead the camera, and if that changes, then we need to slow down and stop. yeah, we wouldn't want to stop immediately. Like, you'd want to slow down and stop. And then when we found a new lead position, we would then move towards it, and maybe we could also try to move towards 0. Like, if we couldn't find a lead position after a certain amount of time, you just try to go towards 0. That's a complicated algorithm. Basically, what we will be doing is keep track of a target location. To lead, this must be a smooth velocity in the direction of travel. If this position doesn't change for a certain amount of time, move toward this position smoothly from the previous position. If this target location changes too much, I guess we should allow it to move a small bit each frame. Allow target location to move a small bit. What we need to do is slow down and stop from previous target location, and then we need to once stopped, reacquire new target location. If no target location can be acquired, start moving towards origin. It's a lot of complicated camera logic. Basically, we've got the lead start position, the lead end position, current follow velocity, so we have lead delay start. So we have lead delay start, Lead acceleration, lead shrinking no longer exists. Lead magnitude no longer exists. It's going to be lead start position, lead in position. Alright, so what we're going to want to do is we've got the wanted camera offset and all that stuff. Alright, so basically what we want to do is lead delay start is set to time. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting speed thing here. Yeah, we got our camera lead speed and our camera lead target. Yeah, so camera lead speed. Should we go for like a percentage? No, just an absolute value probably is best. Okay, so what we want to do is keep track of the target location to lead. So so we have like the top target wobble is going to be the lead in position minus it's going to be this guy. So if the target wobble done size squared is greater than, I guess our, like, we'll put a float here, it'd be like float target wobble max. And this is in terms of actual world space is what it looks like. So let's just do 10.0f times 10.0f. So if the target wobble, like this is going to be if our target has changed too much, then we're going to want our lead in position. We're actually going to want to say that our lead delay start equals now. Otherwise, our lead end position is our camera wanted lead offset. Alright, so this is basically, we're going to want to go towards this thing. So 1.0f. So if we have enough time for this, we want to go towards 1 with our stuff. Alright, so brain's just not working at the moment. I'm trying to think of exactly what we want to do here. Basically want, if this target has not changed enough, then we have acquired target. Alright, so if now minus lead delay start. Alright, so if we have acquired target equals false. Yeah, so okay, it's moved too far. No, that's not exactly what we want. Let's just get the basic conditions going and we'll see what we can do. So if we have not acquired a target and now minus lead delay start is greater than the camera offset delay, then we've acquired a target. Then acquired target is true. Yeah, this will be acquired lead target equals false, so we've lost our target. Alright, so if we have acquired the target, if we have acquired the lead target, then we basically want to go from 0 to 1 for our lead acceleration. Otherwise, we want to go towards 0. So float our wanted accel equals 1.0f, and if we have not acquired a target, then the wanted acceleration equals 0. And if our if we have not acquired a target and our lead acceleration is less than or equal to what? Tiny float? Like we basically reached 0 with this thing. Then that means we can reacquire a new target. then we what? We just say like the lead in position equals our wanted camera offset. Lead delay start is not going to equal now. Yeah, okay, it does equal now. So we can actually grab a new one here. Alright, so our speed is going to be our camera lead speed base and multiplied by our lead acceleration. Alright, so float speed is going to be that. This will be our movement speed from current position to the target position. And that's going to be our current camera lead offset. So it's going to be f vector offset to target is going to be our current. It's going to be our target minus our current. So we're going to do float distance to target equals offset to target. Size. So if delta t times the speed is greater than distance to target, so we're going to float distance to travel equals delta t times speed. And if distance to travel is greater than distance to target, then distance to target equals, then we just set it, and we have arrived. We say current camera lead offset equals lead in position and return 0. I guess it's just return 0, and we're just supposed to return the distance to travel, and this other stuff is just kind of meaningless. Otherwise, basically, our current camera lead offset plus equals our offset to target normalize that. And we multiply that by the distance to travel. Alright. So let's start messing with stuff. And I'm basically just going to keep going until I hit a certain time today, just to put in the hours, because I'm not being super effective, but it doesn't really matter. Need to do work. So what should happen right here? Basically what should happen is we should go from 0 to 1